Okay, so that Pokemon Presents was pretty interesting. What's up, everybody? It's Cam Sindo, and a day after the Pokemon Presents, I figured now that I got let my thoughts sink in, I can at least go over what we learned from the Presents and just tell you guys my general thoughts and how I feel about it. So if you guys are cool with that, let's dive right into it. So the Pokemon Presents opened up with, of course, our man Ishihara in a very creepy looking Pikachu. I am sorry to those that think it was cute. Me personally, I think it was probably the creepiest thing. Then we start off with World Championship news, and as someone who's not really into competitive, it really didn't excite me as much as other people were, but I can see the big appeal. I see it's going to be held in Japan this year, which I didn't know this was the first time. I figured it was held like always or every so often in Japan, but this is a huge deal apparently, and I'm really happy for them. And then next we were introduced to Pokemon TCG Classic, which I'm assuming this is a more simplified format of the game, like taking it back to its roots for those that want to play the original and aren't used to the newer aspects of it, like G-Max and V-Max and whatever they're going to add for Gen 9 and Megas and all these crazy things. I personally have not played the TCG, so I don't really get what's going on, but as a avid TCG player, like I play Yu-Gi-Oh!, I play Card Fight Vanguard, I even played Buddy Fight before it died. I can see the appeal of wanting to have a classic format and a more, I would say, advanced format for people that are used to the newer aspects of the game. Like some people prefer to play classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Over Yu-Gi-Oh! Now with Links and Synchros and XEs, or even so, they'll even play the sevens format because it's easier and less, like stressful, I guess, to play. So I can see this new format definitely helping people I know like me that never actually got a chance to play it or know nothing about the original game. I could be getting the wrong idea. It seems like it's new rules in this format, but definitely it seems pretty interesting. It just doesn't seem like it will be something I would personally like, but I can definitely see the appeal. Next, we got introduced to a Pokemon Netflix original series, which I remember this was being rumored and talked about heavily, but I didn't think that it would be a stop motion. I remember back in 2021 or 2022, I believe it was 2021, but there was a rumored Netflix show and it was being directed by the guy that directed Lucifer or the guy that played Lucifer. I don't remember. It has something to do with Lucifer if you guys have ever seen that show. And it said it was going to be a Netflix original. It was going to be really cool. I heard it was going to be live action. So to see this get announced and it's like a stop motion animation type of thing, it seems pretty interesting. I may watch it. Pokemon Presort, it seems like a really, I don't know, just interesting premise, especially stop motion. I was more hoping it would be like live action like the rumors were, or that could be a completely different show. But it does seem like it'll be a fun watch. I heard it's like a new story every episode, so it's gonna have probably an upheld status quo, not an overarching plot, which again is completely fine. I look forward to it, but I do felt like besides another thing that we're going to talk about, these really small announcements I felt like were a bit too long. But after that, we got introduced to Pokemon Unite, which of course had a big spotlight on Zacian, the newest character being added, and it was again pretty cool. They talked about the new stuff with Dragonite, I guess. I haven't played Unite in a long time, not since they added Hoopa to it, so I don't really know what's going on, but from what I've heard from my fellow PokeTubers, YouTubers like Johto Johnny and things like that, it doesn't seem to be all that appealing. It seems like its Unite move isn't really all that, eye-catching and breaking. It's just going to be another character added, which I'm not too upset about that. Then we move on to the things I felt like stayed a bit too long. Pokemon Cafe Remix. Now, I can see the appeal of games like this. Puzzle games are very addicting. I used to play Shuffle back on my 3DS, and then it is it dead? I don't think it's dead. I used to play Shuffle, then I lost my save data a long time ago, and ever since then I just kind of lost all motivation to continue playing Shuffle because I got super far in it, and I was just like, nah, I refuse. So I'm not really all that big into Pokemon and mobile games like I used to be. MOBAs maybe, but not mobiles. So I can see the appeal of, you know, games like Shuffle, but Cafe Mix, I feel like, yeah, while this game can be fun and addicting, I do feel like it stayed a bit too long. Up next, we have Pokemon Masters, which again, I felt like kind of dragged on a bit. It was cool that they're adding champion versions for old characters like, well, I wouldn't even say they're old, but like Hop, Beat, and Marnie. That seems cool. I don't really know why Hop I want to dress up like Leon, because doesn't that kind of go against his whole character arc of being compared to Leon? Anyways, I do think that that's cool. It's the, what, 3.5 anniversary. I thought it's been like 4 years, but 3.5 is 3.5. So it seems like this is going to be really fun for people that care about Pokemon Masters. I haven't played Masters EX in a very long time. I still haven't installed on my phone. And as it stands, it is basically eating up my storage because I kind of have no interest in playing mobile games except for Go, which didn't even get that much spotlight in its presents, which is very bizarre because usually Go has a huge portion, but I guess that's them acknowledging that the game, while it is a big deal, it isn't as big as it used to be back in 2016, 2017. So we move on to, I would assume to be the big announcement besides the obvious thing we're going to get to towards the end, which this was where I kind of drew the line. We finally got the release date and proper announcement of Pokemon Sleep. And I want to get into a brief discussion about this because along with a lot of other PokeTubers and YouTubers talked about this. It's that I feel like we as a community hyped up this game so much because we have heard nothing about it, to the point to where I think Game Freak and the Pokemon Company got the wrong idea, and they were just like, well, you know, people are really asking for this game, let's just give it like a 3, 4, 5 minute segment in the presents to properly explain how a sleeping monitoring app with very minimal Go connectivity works, because that is extremely exciting. It was giving that one presents where it was just focused on Unite. Remember how we all love that one? Like, I'm glad the game is coming out. It is really reassuring that it exists, because that lets us know that Detective Pikachu 2, which was also announced the same time as Pokemon Sleep, still exists. At least to me, it lets me know that these games that they announced like 3 or 4 years ago still exist and are still being worked on to this day. That is very reassuring, and we can stop memeing about Pokemon Sleep. It woke up, shut up, it's not funny anymore. So I'm really glad that Pokemon Sleep is happening, but again, I think it definitely overstayed its welcome in this presents. I feel like we didn't really need it all that often, or I feel like we didn't really need it to be there as long as it needed to be. I feel like it could have just been like, hey, Pokemon Sleep exists, here's a trailer for it, moving on. But instead they had to like give us this whole live action trailer along with a release date, and then they went on to a whole breakdown of how, again, a sleep monitoring app works. While yes, it's cute, you can see your favorite Pokemon, I'm assuming your favorite Pokemon, sleep, I don't really think it was worth all that time. And if it was, they could have released it separately, like in a separate video, like, you know, Nintendo Directs do sometimes. But I'm happy that it's here. I'm happy that it exists. I just wish that it didn't stay as long. And then they moved on to talk about how it has connectivity to Pokemon Home, where you can get a Snorlax and a sleeping cat. Yippee! So again, I am very just like, eh. Then we move on to more Pokemon Home news, where they bring about the fact that it has connectivity with Sword and Shield, and you can get the Vivillon patterns, which is crazy because I knew that they existed in the game's files, but I didn't know, because I'm pretty sure you can only obtain one Vivillon pattern, but now you can get the others, as well as Gimmighoul. Apparently, if you transfer the postcards from your phone to your Switch, you can also get Gimmighoul alongside the Vivillons, which I think is pretty cool, because as like well, I don't really think it's worth it now since a lot of people have a Goldingo, but now we can finally obtain roaming Gimmighoul, which again, I don't really know why it took them so long. They also revealed that home connectivity is coming in early 2023, but we're in early 2023 and we're about to enter mid 2023. So unless it's coming out like, geez, I don't know, next month, which is quite literally tomorrow, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, I don't know how or why home connectivity is that hard for them to implement. It seems like it's not that hard, but they love making you wait for things you really want versus things you don't need, like Pokemon Sleep. We also get on to our big final announcement, which opens up with Paradox Suicune and Paradox Virizion, aka Iron Leaf and Walking Wake, which these designs are really cool, but they weren't what I was expecting because of what we got in the the book. What we got in the book looked way cooler compared to what we got in the games, but I am happy that they exist. But I want to go on a side tangent, which I will probably say for my next video, so keep a lookout for that. But I just don't like how they're terror raids when I guess it's our fault as a fan base for building up all of this mystery for it. But I just really don't like how they were so easy to just like throw these amazing designs, which we all wanted some background lore as to how these two Pokemon specifically, like, yeah, the other Pokemon were really crazy. By other, I mean the Paradox Pokemon, like they all look really insane. But the fact that these two specifically, which are legendary Pokemon, the fact that we wanted answers for these two, why they exist, how did Suicune come to look like that? Were they really fusions? How were these even created? Are they from the past or future? Are they imaginary? Instead, they just released it with Terra Raid thins, and if you catch it, you don't even get a Pokédex entry for it. So it just really sucks. Again, I'm gonna go on a little like tangent in another video, but that's that on that. You can still get them now if you update to the patch, which I did get that one prediction right. They did talk about nothing regarding the patch other than the fact that you needed to play the games, which I was so yeah, I feel I'm kind of happy about that. Now we're gonna move on to the big final announcement, which was the obviously predicted sword, did I say sword? The Scarlet and Violet DLC. Now it opened up with a very cool one. We're going to be going to the land of Kitakami or Kitakami. I could be getting that wrong. I am going based off of what I remember from the presents. I don't have a script with me. So we're going to a new land called Kitakami, which is based on a Japanese town, I believe, where they have a really cool looking festival. And it is also going to be based off of the story of Momotaro, which again I will go over in a separate video, but it seems really cool. I can go start this whole thing off by saying rip Kalos. We may not be going to Kalos after all, which really sucks. I really don't know why. Like, of course, I wasn't expecting us to explore all of Kalos, but maybe even a southern portion, which we know exists, but we just haven't been able to access it. I was really hoping for Kalos, and we're not getting that, so we can put that to rest. But let's talk about these new legendary Pokemon. We got Okidogi, which is of course a play on the words Okie Dokie, which he looks really cool, but he does look like an Incineroar and a Zarude had like a love child. Sorry to put that image in your head, internet, but that's what he looks like, which is also weird because he's a dog and he just looks like an Incineroar that you just took the head of him and just put a dog on it and like colored it green, which I'm not gonna say I don't like it because Incineroar is like one of my favorite starters, but he looks very like funny looking. Next we got Monkey Dory, which is a play on the words hunky dory, and he also looks very funny. He is apparently the least liked of the 3 new legendary Pokemon, but I like him. I like how he's derpy. I see some people use this as an excuse. Like, you can say you don't like a design, but you don't have to bash on it because it doesn't fit your criteria of what a Pokemon should look like. Like, not every Pokemon is going to be made to be like this awesome Charizard, Incineroar, Genesect, these really cool looking Pokemon, because somewhere out there, somebody, which I've seen a lot of love, but also a lot of hate for this Pokemon, which sucks because he's really funny looking to me. Then we got Pheasantipity, which I believe is a play on the words pheasant, obviously, and splendid. I don't remember, but it is a really cool looking legendary, and I believe, at least from what I've seen, this one seems to be like the leader of the group. It seems to be the mature, serene looking one, which usually in duos like this, it could be Okidogi, it could be Pheasantipity, but between this trio, which I'm gonna dub the Momotaro trio, they seem to be really cool. Then we got introduced into the mascot of this DLC, who is Ogerpon. Now, Ogerpon is, of course, if you know the story of Momotaro, the ogre of the story whom the three animals and Momotaro aim to defeat. Now, interestingly enough about Ogerpon's design is that it has crystals on it, as well as the mask, which isn't its real face. So I am expecting us to probably uncover the mask of Ogerpon and see what it really looks like, but we don't have a typing on it yet. We don't know anything besides the name and design. We didn't even get gameplay for either of these DLCs, which is saying a lot. We also got its release date, which is late fall, which has a lot of people worried. But then we're going to move on to the second DLC. Now, the second DLC is probably something I predicted, but it is like it fused two concepts of my predictions into one, which I don't really mind. We're gonna be going to Blueberry Academy, which is a new academy located in the ocean because it's underground. It was a man-made underground academy. They called it a sister location, which doesn't necessarily make it a rival school. It just means that it's like sponsored by our school, and it's like other students go there. But unlike our school, which has rich history, this school was freshly built. It has no history, and it is renowned for its battling skills, which really gives me this vibe of Blueberry Academy being a rebranded name for a potential battle frontier. On its art, we see our characters, the starters, and two new characters who I'll get into in a sec, going up against 4 characters. Now, these 4 characters are obviously students at Blueberry Academy, but they all seem to have something about them that separates them from one another, and it's giving me Frontier Brain vibes, which is really cool to me personally. I feel like this is going to be a really cool expansion pass for, like I said, people that really want that battling itch, have that itch for a battle facility, something that they really want to get their hands on and sink their teeth into. Then we move on to the legendary Pokemon Terralapagos, who is the 3rd legendary that we have all been waiting. And can I go on record by saying bro is adorable? I cannot believe that whoever is in charge of his book really sucks at drawing, because wow, just wow, you drew a monster and we got this little thing. Then again, he could have a monstrous second form, because you can't be a 3rd legendary unless you have a second form. And for you guys to say, what about Rayquaza? He got a Mega Evolution to kind of fit him in line with the others. So I am really excited for this, but let's backtrack a bit. In both DLCs, we were introduced to these 2 characters. I don't remember their names. I'll probably go in depth in it on a second video, but they seem to fit into the same role that Clara and Avery did in Sword and Shield. These 2, if you can't tell, they both have different color hues. The older sister character, I'm assuming, has red hues, while the younger brother character has purple hues or violet hues. It seems like these 2 characters may be version exclusive rivals, just like Clara and Avery, which I really hope not. I really want to see more of these 2 characters probably together, get some background lore, but they seem to imply that these 2 characters will be the poster child for this new path we can take in the story. So just like how Penny, Arvin, and Ramona were all the poster childs of their respective paths, these 2 characters seem to be the poster childs of these paths depending on which game you choose, which is expected. And I don't know, I'm really excited for this. I, of course, need to further allow myself to just process this, because The DLC, while it does look cool, it's not that I had really that high of expectations for it, so I don't really have proper thoughts to just be like, I'm mad at this. I'm not. I guess you can say I'm relieved that we have something to play this year, although it's not coming until fall of 2023, which, yeah, they didn't even announce a side game to keep us company unless they really expect you to care about sleep as much as they think we will. No mystery dungeon, no ranger, which is weird because, again, Spike Chunsoft is credited on a website, and me along with a lot of other fans were very disappointed. I will say that this was not my favorite Pokemon Presents. It felt like it dragged on in the worst places. Like, a lot of things just weren't really there for me personally. I feel like they should have focused more on what they know we wanted versus the flavor. It's like they had a hamburger and the meat was very small, but the bread, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the pickles, all the stuff that they know you really shouldn't care about, especially the pickles. Like, I'm not really a pickle fan, but all the stuff that they really think that you shouldn't care about, they threw it in there anyways because they wanted to stall out. So that's gonna do it all for this video, guys. Again, I have more videos coming, especially a lot of aspects about this Presents that I have to talk more about in depth. I just wanted to go over this Presents with you all and tell you guys my general thoughts. My name is Cam Sindo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys when I see you. Bye.